Our story began in 1991. Over time, the mortgage industry has experienced many changes, but our core values here at CIS have always remained the same: character, integrity, and service. You don't need to be a mortgage expert to get a great financial plan, you just need to work with one. Our focus and dedication have allowed us to help thousands of families reach their dream of home ownership. Whether it be refinancing your current home, buying a manufactured home, or purchasing investment property, we have a product for you. We invite you to find out more by visiting our website at cishomeloans.com or like us on Facebook. CIS Home Loans, mortgage loans made simple, equal housing lender.
A couple of minutes passed on our time to start, so we'll get started and don't have a real long agenda tonight. Just had a couple of things we want to mention to our public that might be watching tonight. The 2020 census goes on. Everyone needs to be counted. And questionnaires are about 7 questions, non-invasive questions. And please participate. It's so important that you be counted in this census. The Hamilton splash pad is now open. Check us out on that. Recreation for our younger children. It's real fine recreation. There are a few rules that still apply because of this COVID, but they'll tell you all about that. You'll have a temperature check before you enter and a few other little things, but basically it's a good place for your children to play, and we invite you to try out our splash pad. The 4th of July will happen before our next meeting, and because of that, the city will be closed on Monday, the 6th. And both Monday and Tuesday's garbage will be picked up on Tuesday of that week. So just keep that in mind. Everything will run right on through the 3rd of that week before the 4th on Saturday. And then we'll observe the 4th for our crew will be off on Monday of that following week to observe the 4th of July. So the COVID-19 is still close by. There's been a few more cases recognized in our own county. I think the count's up to 142 cases in total. That's not nearly as bad as some other counties, but we want to keep that number low, so continue to protect your personal health. I can't illustrate that enough. You've heard a lot about this COVID, and it's a real ailment that could treat you bad if you get it. So everybody's not reacting the same to this ailment, so this virus. So continue to be careful, especially if you have any recognized health problems already. So with that said, we'll get into our meeting, and before we do that, we'll have our invocation and our pledge. If we'll stand at this time. Heavenly Father, we thank you so much that we can still live in a country that's known to be free. Lord, we thank you for the freedoms we enjoy on a daily basis. And we ask that those might continue for the centuries to come. Lord, we ask that we would have peace and harmony in our nation, that somehow we would continue to strive to make our relations with all people acceptable. Lord, mostly we want to be acceptable in your sight. We want to please you because we live for you. We ask your blessings upon this meeting and upon our community tonight, and we ask you to always be with us as we meet from time to time. In Christ's name, amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. We appreciate each one that came tonight, our guests and our press that is with us, our attorney. We thank all of you, and our city clerk's here with us tonight too. Thank Miss Angela. She's our standby. The first item that we'd recommend tonight is the recommendation to approve the minutes of the June 1st, 2020 council meeting. And we need a motion and second to vote on.
Make that motion.
We got a motion from Bobby.
I'll second that.
Wade second. All in favor of approving our minutes? Thank you. The second item on our agenda tonight is recommendation to adopt the City of Hamilton's Grease Trap Ordinance number 2020-2 for the preservation of an efficient sewer system for the city. What we mean by that, we've had some situations where we had serious clogging of our sewer lines, and we have drawn up an ordinance to be able to inspect our grease traps in Hamilton to prevent this from happening. It's very expensive when it happens, and I'm not sure that anyone intentionally clogged our lines, but nevertheless it continues to happen. So going forward, if we adopt this tonight, we'll have a city inspector. Our inspector will be qualified to inspect, and he'll be looking for improper use of grease traps that would cause grease problems, clogging problems in our system. And we want to adopt this ordinance so we have a right to go in and look at these places for possible violations of the rule and of the law. So if we adopt this here tonight, and I'm recommending that we do because we've had enough problems and expense from this grease that we need to address it now. And with that recommendation, I'd like to have any discussions or a motion.
I just,
Mayor, we need to suspend the minutes to have unanimous consent to consider it to be voted on at this meeting. I need to mention that to Angela, but we need to do that, then we can have the vote on the ordinance, the discussion on it.
All right, say that one more time for me.
We need to vote to have unanimous consent to consider the ordinance for tonight, then have a recommendation to vote on it for tonight.
Okay. All right. With that made, we'd need a recommendation. We'd recommend that when we vote on this ordinance tonight, that we would do it in a unanimous way, and we'd need a motion for that. Is that correct?
That's right.
All right. We'd need a motion that when we vote, we'd vote unanimous to adopt this particular ordinance.
I'll make a motion for unanimous consent.
All right.
I'll second.
All right. All those for unanimous consent on this ordinance. Now would it be time to recommend?
Yes, sir.
Now we'd recommend that we adopt this grease ordinance for our system.
Okay, first let's talk for just a minute. On section 4, the schedule of penalties, where it says if the POTW determines that a generator is responsible for a blockage, I think it would better read if it says has contributed to a blockage, because I don't understand how we're going to determine that they caused the blockage. I see how we can determine if they have contributed to it, but I don't see how we can determine if they have completely caused it. So if they're in violation, if they're found in violation and have contributed to the blockage, then
And I'm okay with that change, Mayor. That the language we have in there came from the model 5 ordinance. Has contributed lessens our standards a bit as far as being able to make that determination. So basically, I think it makes it easier on, in this case, Rodney, as the supervisor of the water department. I think it makes it easier on him if we change that language from is responsible to has contributed. So I'm okay with if that change being made.
Do we want to pencil that in tonight for the official ordinance?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Pencil in and then
if the business has contributed, have her word that so that we adopt one that's official,
Yes, sir.
if we in fact adopt. I've spoke with Rodney on various occasions about this, and he's actually been and questioned several folks about contributing to this, and so far he's not got anyone to, except one former warden said, yeah, those are my sheets and those are my things in your system. But as far as someone saying we put grease in your system, we haven't had anyone to own up to it. So the reason we need inspections, I think, is because we need to see if there's a timely schedule being met on these grease traps. They'll have documentation for when they were pumped. They'll have, actually, he'll be able to measure the amount of grease in their trap. He has ordered a tool that measures the specific amount of grease in each trap. Rodney's getting a lot of information together in training that he can get from experts and online training as well to be able to properly inspect and determine a lot about these traps. And we're not trying to do this as a way to get at somebody for money. We're just trying to quit spending money over and over repetitions and a repetition to unclog it and call in experts for these clogs, and it's very expensive. So we're having to do something. Was there any other specific language that caught your eye, Tim, that you'd like to address?
No, that was just, Scott answered all my other questions that I
I
had.
think
That was
that's
just,
I think that's a good change, contributing, and as you say, the entire problem might be hard to say you are the cause, you know, and that's good language. I think that would be better than how it was initially written. Any other, gentlemen, any other discussion y'all want to have before we bring it to a vote? You think of anything else that you need to say about this?
No, sir. I think it will help the water department, sewer department, wastewater treatment out considerably, so that we'll have the ability to go and check and make sure that these businesses are in compliance with not only this ordinance but with the law, so that we can keep
At our
this problem from happening.
workshop the other day, I assured the council that you and I would get together and word up a letter to each one who has a grease trap in their entity, and we'd put them on notice that we'll be having these inspections, and the reason we need the inspections is to eliminate the problem we're having.
That's right. Yes, sir.
And we'll give everybody proper notice that this ordinance is in place, and I'd like to have you help me draft up a letter mailed to each one of these people.
Will do. Yes, sir.
Any other discussion before we put it before the council for a vote? In order to vote, we'll need to have a motion and a second to bring this ordinance to a vote.
I'll make a motion.
Tammy made the motion, we need a second.
I'll second.
We got a second. Now, understanding that the ordinance will only pass if everyone is for the ordinance. Otherwise, we would have to re-discuss it and bring it to another meeting. So all those in favor of adopting a grease trap ordinance for our city, raise your right hand. Thank you very much. That makes me feel better about the ordinance itself, and what we're trying to accomplish with this ordinance is not a penalty matter. It's just a matter of straightening out an awful problem we're experiencing over and over. On item 3 of this agenda, I'd like to recommend that the city council approve a new date for next month's first meeting. The July 4th holiday is going to be observed on the 6th, and we're going to need to move that, hopefully, just one day to the Tuesday night. If that's okay with everyone, we'll recommend that.
I had a typo. I had the 5th down here. It should be.
Yeah, I penciled in the 6th
Thank
on mine. Does anybody have a problem with the 6th being moved to the 7th? That'd be a one-day change. If not, then I'd let someone make the motion and second, and we'll bring that to a vote. Herbert made the motion, we'll need a second. Mr. Wade seconded. All in favor of moving our date to the 7th? Thank you. I've asked Angela to address us on the matters of the upcoming municipal election as to when the qualifying and this, if you'll just tell us as much as you can tonight about how that will go, when the first voting will take place, after the qualifying and that kind of thing. Angie.
It should come out in this Wednesday's paper. We're announcing that there will be an election held. I believe it's August the 25th. I should have that memorized, but without actually looking at my calendar. I think Tuesday, August 25th will be the election. Then we'll have a runoff in October, and I believe that's the 6th. You can start qualifying as a candidate July the 7th through the 21st. There is a $50 qualification fee that is non-refundable. There's just different, I'll have different information available for everyone that wants to become a candidate. I have a packet of information. There are several things you will have to do. You will have to file with the Ethics Commission, and you will have to go to the probate judge's office to file your campaign funds and keep record of that. So there are several things that will need to be done, and I ask that you please do not wait to the last day. It's just too much that needs to be done. But there again, the dates to start qualifying are July the 7th through the 21st. That'll be the end of the qualification, and then we'll get the ballots and everything ordered.
July the 7th to August.
I'm sorry?
July the 7th to when?
July the 7th through July the 21st are the dates you can come in and qualify. And the election will be in August the 25th, I believe. Yes, August the 25th.
If you haven't been at Fulton Bridge exit recently, there's lots of work going on down there. The new Love's truck stop in Arby's is now under construction. That's a beautiful project, taking in some 20 acres of property there, down there in what used to be Gene Cashin's cotton field. And real nice project. Should be helping us with our revenues by around December. We think this thing will be in operation, and we'll be pulling in new revenues from the interstate that we don't currently have. Lots of truckers will be stopping in, and hopefully it'll help us to grow that exit some more. So got some indication from some folks that we might have an opportunity to have a Domino's pizza pretty soon, and they came and we had lunch with them a few days ago, and they've got a target date to be here by August of this year. So a few good things are happening. It doesn't happen overnight, and it doesn't happen by magic. You just have to keep making these things happen, and we're doing our best as a council to lead our city forward. And I appreciate each one of these folks that sit in these chairs here with me, and it's been a concerted effort on everybody's part to keep Hamilton's best interest at heart, and that's what we all do. And we certainly appreciate the work of these people right here that have been right by my side all the way through this administration. And this administration is coming to an end, and a new era will start. Some of us are going to run again, some of us are not. And, but I can say fully that I have enjoyed working with this council. And of course, Wade came on board when Mr. Kenneth Cochran was elected as our commissioner, and Wade's doing a fine job, working hard, out seeing the citizens, seeing what their needs are. Wade, I appreciate the effort you've made since you've been on board with us. You've done a good job. And my hat's off to a man that comes in here working. We appreciate it. We appreciate it very much. All of your work has been appreciated, every one of you. And our hard-working attorney and our hard-working city clerk, we just can't do without them. Scott gives us daily advice. Angela keeps this thing running. Our audit's ongoing. They've had books stacked on every area right here. I don't know, they've had everything pulled, have they not, Angela?
It feels like it,
Yeah.
yes.
They've been bringing those books back in groups to her. So with all that said, thank you very much. I don't have anything else to add tonight. If you don't, then I'd ask for a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I just have one question about our police officers. I know that they stopped taking applications the end of May. Do we have any prospects or?
Got lots of prospects. The PT was done for the non-certified officers Saturday, and we just wasn't ready to meet this meeting, but the next meeting we'll probably be trying to hire 2 new additional people, and I understand we have a wonderful selection of officers this time. I don't know how many of them did their PT well. I haven't got that report, but we've got a good group to select from, both certified and non-certified. So, yeah, that's looking real good. Appreciate you asking the question, Tammy. Thank you. Okay. If we have no other business, then we'd need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
We got a motion, need a second? A second. All in favor? Thank you. Appreciate y'all coming out tonight.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel at www.youtube.com/49 County News TV.